will be led in prayer by Commissioner Jason Boyett.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come together and serve our community. We ask for your strength, wisdom, and understanding as we consider the issues that are before us tonight. May our discussions be filled with respect, honesty, and a genuine desire to serve the best interest of Bedford County. Help us listen to each other, to consider different perspectives, and to make decisions to honor your will. We ask for your grace to guide our hearts and minds, and ask that we will act with compassion and integrity. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
All right, if you'll join me in the pledge. All right, now the meeting will officially be opened by the Sheriff Austin Swing.
Hear ye, Bedford County Board of Commissioners now in session. The Honorable Mayor, Chad Graham, presiding.
Thank you. Be seated. All right, I believe we're ready for roll call.
Commissioner Anderson.
Here.
Commissioner Boutwell.
Here.
Commissioner Boyett.
Here.
Commissioner Brothers. Commissioner Davis.
Here.
Commissioner Epperson.
Here.
Commissioner Farrer. Commissioner Hooker.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Maddox.
Here.
Commissioner Neely.
Here.
Commissioner Pinson.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Adam Thomas. Commissioner Mark Thomas.
Here.
Commissioner Thompson.
Here.
Commissioner Vick.
Here.
Commissioner Yaki.
Here.
18 present, 0 absent.
Great. Before we get started, just letting you know, you do see laptops or tablets on your desk. That is for future use, so there'll be training opportunities, and we'll be going through that. Right now, they're really just trying to sync everything up and make sure it's in place, and then we'll be going from there. So you won't be needing those tonight. All right. First item is approval of the minutes from the commission meeting of March the 11th, 2025.
Make a motion to approve.
All right, motion is second. We're open for discussion. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. About public comment, I didn't actually get a chance to look on the table. Is there anybody in the audience wanting to speak on anything that's on the agenda tonight? Okay, hearing none, seeing none, we're moving on then. Next item is elections and confirmations, so that'll be the notaries for June of 2025.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion second. We're open for discussion. Is there any? Second was, who was the second? Boyett. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great. Well, tonight we actually have a little quick presentation. We have the comptroller and his staff here today, and so we're going to ask them to come up here. They want to do a presentation for the commission to recognize us, so if they'll come up. Right behind them, if you're a department head or a full-time elected officer, I'd ask you to come up and just stand here in front of me. The comptroller and his folks and Robert and his team are going to come up, and they're going to stand up here where I'm at, so you'll be able to see everybody. And if those elected officials and department heads will come right here in front of me on the bench, that'll make for a nice picture. All right.
Thank you all. Thank you all very much for allowing us to be here tonight. It is always excellent to be able to recognize excellence, and that is why we are here in Bedford County tonight. I probably came further than most of you all to be here. I woke up in San Antonio, Texas this morning, and try this one. I woke up in San Antonio, Texas this morning, but my great friend, Pat Marsh, Pat, you went on the other side, had asked me to be here in Bedford County tonight, and I absolutely knew, primarily because Pat asked, that I could not be here. And I've been down in San Antonio yesterday, a couple days, for a conference, and I was actually there with your great assessor, Rhonda Clanton's son, who's an employee of the comptroller's office. We were down there at an assessment meeting. You know, I was walking around downtown San Antonio. If you've been, you walk right by the Alamo. You know, I was walking in David Crockett's footsteps right by the Alamo, and I ran into a proud Texan right there in front of the Alamo, and I said to him, I said, you know, if it weren't for Tennessee, there wouldn't be a Texas. He said, well, you know, if the Alamo had a back door, there wouldn't be a Texas either. So I am glad to have come all this way to be with you here in Bedford County. The mission statement of the Comptroller's Office is to make government work better. We believe, I've been an elected official just like many of you are, and I know the sacred duty and oath we all have to the citizens we serve to make government work better every day. And recognizing you here in Bedford County tonight for a 5th clean audit is certainly a recognition of government that works well for the people of this county. And it's an honor to be here and a privilege to be able to recognize you. I do have with me tonight, in particular, Sherry Gill and Bailey Martin. Raise your hands. Right behind me back here. Sherry and Bailey are 2 of the auditors who worked on the Bedford County audit. They work on many counties, but they worked on Bedford County in particular. And I talked with them personally one-on-one, and I said, Sherry and Bailey, I said, what is it about what you find here in Bedford County that really helps them not only be a clean audit county this year, but a 5-time clean audit county? Because, you know, a clean audit doesn't just happen. There are 95 counties in this state. There are 14 that are clean this year. And they both said the same thing to me. They said it is the dedication of the department heads, and it is the dedication of every staff person that works in this community. They said they want to do things right every day. And you really have found the right recipe here in Bedford County. The systems you have in place, the dedicated employees that you have working, the officials that you have heading up these departments, they want not a clean audit. They want to do things right for the citizens of Bedford County. And when you're doing things right for the citizens of Bedford County, you're going to have a clean audit because you want to do things right. And so certainly I appreciate, I do want to point out as well that if you don't know, I want you to know there's an organization I'm a member, the Government Finance Officials Association. That's a real raucous group, the Government Finance Officials Association. For 16 years in a row, Bedford County has earned the GFOA Certificate of Excellence. Robert Daniel, your finance director, does an excellent job. All the staff. We're so proud to be here to be able to recognize you all tonight. I'm very sad that my friend Shane Reeves, your great senator, can't be with us. I am glad to have Caroline Grassi and Laura Bond and Jennifer Pfeiffer, in addition to Sherry and Bailey, here with me tonight. We're all glad to be here. You have so many good things going on in Bedford County, and Mayor, I congratulate you and everybody in the county. Pat, would you like to share?
Thank you, Jason. I really appreciate you coming to Bedford County with this great award, and we do have the best county in the state. Mayor and your staff, you've done a great job. Robert, congratulations again. Keep up the good work. Thank you all.
And so what we have for you tonight is a certificate in recognition of clean financial and compliance audit report for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2024. Which is as good as it gets, in my opinion. There's nothing I like better than a clean audit. And so I congratulate you all for sure. and keep it up, and I'll be glad to come back next year.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much.
And Jennifer, if you'll.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Watch your step coming off. Okay. Thank you guys for coming and doing that with us. It is special when you can do that. It's difficult. They come up with new items that they review closer every time, so it's not the same process every time. And for our people to be able to pull that off and the department heads come together is nothing short of excellence in all that we're doing. So next item on the agenda is under resolutions, Resolution 2516, and this is to authorize the Bedford County Highway Department to perform work for all city, county government entities in Bedford County.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. We're open for discussion. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So next item is under Rules and Legislative Committee. Remove current budget duties from the Financial Management Committee as adopted in 2006 under the Financial Management Act of 1981 and create a separate budget committee to assume those responsibilities with the following 5 members to serve: Diane Neely from the 4th District, John Batwell from the 8th District, Troy Thompson from the 3rd District, Bill Anderson from the 6th District, and Drew Hooker from the 1st District.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we're looking for a second.
Second.
Okay, was that Anita? Okay, so we got a motion second. Now we're open for discussion. Commissioner Farah. We're going to give you a mic so you can talk. Hang on. Yours is one of the ones that's.
No, that's okay. I just have a question about the way the proposal was stated. I don't want to spend any time to go back and read the minutes, but I will read the first one, but it was reiterated several times. Chair Farah said he felt his budget committee would be a subcommittee with the other committee and not replacing it, but in addition to it, and there could be some duties shared, and they would be. And that was reiterated 2 other times in the minutes. So I would request that remove current budget duties to share, because I wouldn't vote for this proposal as it's been stated here myself, because that's not what I intended. I think the first 2 words need to be struck: to share budget duties, not from, but with the Financial Management Committee as adopted in 2006, and then not separate, but create a special budget committee. So you need to strike, remove current. It was never discussed to remove the 7-member Financial Management Committee. Never was that discussed. Never was it intended to replace it. It was in addition to, it was to be a filter of 5 other committee people to help with the final budget finalization of it. And really, I don't see it maybe meeting quarterly, maybe not, but basically just meeting in April, May, and June when the budget is being formed, and let all the other day-to-day, month-to-month things that they do now, that needs to stay there. So it's to share with the Financial Management Committee, and it's to create, not separate, a special budget committee. It's an addition to. I've not counseled anything that the 7-member committee is doing, nor do we want to. That was not the intent. So I don't know if it needs to be changed, If we have to vote on it the way it is, I'm gonna pass. But it needs to be changed, and I would like to be, because that's not the intent of the Rules Committee.
Are you reading from the March minutes?
Yes.
Okay, so we had the April meeting. The March meeting, it was deferred for a month.
Right.
So the April meeting, actually, the motion came from Commissioner Epperson. It said, made the motion to send to the full commission to vote on. But what does that mean? I mean, it was being discussed in the Budget Committee debate. And I mean, I'm happy for her, which you can amend it or whatever you want to do with
Okay.
it. But we
I
needed to
would-
clarify what it meant. The debate was to,
Well, I think I've clarified it. Now, if they won't accept it, it's fine. If they don't,
that was March.
It's okay.
We're talking about April meeting,
Okay.
though.
Would like to amend it with Commissioner Farah. Definitely I am not for doing anything to remove the 81 Act or change that. I mean, I think, I agree with what he said, what we were discussing, and then we deferred it. So I just assumed that, I guess I should have stated that completely. That's my fault. But yeah, I definitely am. I'm like him. I'm not for removing disabling the 81 Act or anything else. It's just be a special budget committee, which is what Charlie Curtis had stated when I talked to him.
Have county attorney talk to you about the 81 Act and what you can do.
Squire Fair and I had a very good discussion. Neither of us convinced the other who was right or wrong, but we are under the 81 Act for sure. And to change or abolish that, it's 2/3 vote. I don't hear anybody wanting to abolish that, so we're under the 81 Act. And the most current reference to that was provided by Squire Farah, and that's TCA 521-105. And here's what it said. Special committees, the county legislative body may authorize the committee, speaking of the previous committee, the Financial Management Committee, to assume the functions of any or all of the following special committees, or, not and, or the county legislative body may by resolution create, and it lists 3 categories, one being a budget committee and then investment and purchase. So my contention is, and I'll stand rock solid on this, the county commission unanimously has done the either part of that. We've established that and delegated those duties pursuant to the 81 Act. That was, if you will, codified and ratified by unanimous vote in December of 2024 when we added a little bit more language to the bylaws regarding the Finance Committee, which is now one of the 4 standing committees, and the addition was concerning the budget or of a primary financial request. So you've done that at least twice and probably 3 times. Now, can you undo it? Yes. The undo it question is where we never quite came to the same conclusion, or maybe we didn't on the initial impression, but I still think there's no question that to change our local rules, our bylaws, if you will, it's 2/3. To change the 81 Act, it's 2/3. Now, you can make an argument, and I wouldn't concede this, but a court may tell me I'm wrong, as we found out this week, that it only takes a majority. But nonetheless, we have done that. So if you want to change it, but there is no, under the 81 Act, which clearly we're under, there is no dual role. It's clear on that. If you want to change it, you can change it. But to change it, you have to take that away from the Financial Management Committee and assign it by the legislative body to a special committee for the budget. So that's it in a nutshell. And you all do as you please on it, but that's the procedure that you've got to go through. You got to vote one out and one in.
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Chairman. May I ask the parliamentarian a question?
Sure.
To suspend the rules, how many votes does it take?
Everybody in the room knows that, Mr. Vick. You're just testing me. It's 2/3.
To change the bylaws, how many votes does it take?
I forgot. I think I said it a minute ago, but I've already forgotten.
And to adopt the 81 Act, it takes 2/3. So what we're doing here is exactly what you've described. It takes 2/3 to make a major change to this. And so I agree with you totally on this. And I think any change would require a 2/3 vote.
Commissioner Maddox.
So I believe, I mean, first of all, we'll go back to the beginning. I also feel that it was clearly stated in April that this would be a committee that would be in addition to the Finance Committee. Matter of fact, I quote, it was stated in April, this committee is there to simply follow up after the other committees start the process. So, and I also believe that there's a word that's missing from what we just heard from John T. would be the word additionally. If you go to CTAS's website, I'm going to just state clearly from their website, as it pertains to the County Finance Management System of 1981, from CTAS, again, it says the system requires a county financial management committee consisting of the county mayor, supervisor of highways, superintendent of education, director of schools, and 4 members elected by the county legislative body. These latter 4 need not be members of the county legislative body, but may be per code TCA 521-104B. It goes on to state the county establishes policies, procedures, and regulations to implement a sound, efficient county financial system. That's TCA 521-104E. This is the word that we're missing in this discussion. It says additionally, the county legislative body by resolution may create a special committees or may authorize the financial management committee to assume any or all of the following functions: budgeting, investment, and purchasing. And that's 521-105. So I'm not understanding, it seems to me that we can create this additional committee, as also had discussions with Charlie Curtis, who I wish could be here tonight. But nevertheless, it's stated here on the website. Charlie has confirmed that with 2 members of this body. So does that word additionally change the context of this conversation?
In my opinion, it does not. I'm reading not from a website or CTAS summary. I'm reading from the code, and I don't disagree with that. You have an additional right, but if you go to the code, that's the law, and you just cited that. It's what I said a minute ago without being redundant. You can go one of 2 ways. Or is the operative word. I too talked to Charlie Curtis, and you don't see him here tonight, and he said this, and I agree with him 100%. We cannot trump TCA at any county level, and we haven't. We have made a selection under TCA, and we've also firmed it up with the way we do business. And the law is clear that a local body, so long as they do not contradict the TCA or any other founded law, can operate under the rules they set to govern themselves. There's replete in the law book cases that say that. We've done that. So if that's a mistake, you all can certainly correct it. And if you wanted to go this other option instead of doing it 3 different times, you could have, but you didn't. And it's not additionally. That is an additional right you have, but to exercise that right, you got to go to the code. And I've quoted that 3 times, so I think I'd be wasting my time to do it again.
Commissioner Hooker.
Mr. Chair, I just had a question. I know that there was some documentation handed out by Chairman Fair at the Rules Committee that kind of broke down this particular thing. Was there a reason why we didn't get a copy of that? I just was, that way we can kind of reference. I know that was handed out across the committee. No, yeah, I understand that, but that we didn't get that in our packet, so I was just asking why.
I don't know that I have it either. I'm just looking at my staff to see what I'm not sure the document you're referring to. Do you have it to reference? I mean, I have no idea.
I
Or
do not.
Commissioner
That's
Farrar
why I was
can
having that
speak to it.
question.
That was a separate one, but it wasn't in there. But that's.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now. It was a budget committee formulation plan that laid out the entire plan. I think that's kind of important to be able to look at because obviously that was well thought out. My question is, I hate for us to rush through this and not have, because obviously we're hearing 2 separate opinions that's coming from Charlie Curtis. And so I would like to hear from him personally to be able to kind of make a quality decision on this. And again, make sure that everybody on the commission sees this formulation plan, because I think it at least lays that out a little bit more in depth.
We'd be happy to go make a copy for it if you like. Right now, the motion on the floor is, as I read it, I believe Commissioner Farrar suggested that it remove share and something else, but I don't know that you made that in the form of a amendment to it. But I'm happy to carve that up or whatever you guys want to do. But currently on the floor, you do have a motion and a second for it as I read it off.
I would like for for it to be amended, but that's not a big issue.
Okay, if you help us,
Okay.
tell us what you want it to say, we'll record it, we'll write it down, okay?
Okay, it's, I don't know if it's on or not. Remove current needs to be to share. It should read to share budget duties with the financial management committee as adopted in 2006 on the Financial Management Act of 81, and create a special, not a separate, it's nothing separate, it's in addition to a special budget committee to assume those responsibilities with those other 5 members. The rest of it reads okay. And that's what basically we presented. It was not remove the current budget.
Okay, if I could ask the parliamentarian, I don't think the 81 Act would allow for him to do it that way. What's your position?
Let me quote the law again, and the term special committee is contained in that section that you brought to me, 521-105. And I don't think you'll find any dispute with Charlie Curtis on this either. TCA 521-105, special committees, and this provides the following. The county legislative body may authorize the committee, referring to the Financial Management Committee, to assume the functions of any or all of the following special committees, and it names those 3, or the county legislative body may, by resolution, create one of those 3, and we're dealing with number 1, the Budget Committee. So you could have done that. You didn't do that. We've done the other way. And you can say addition, you can say what you want to, but I'm reading from, as Ty Cobb would say, the red eye law. You can do it either or. We've done it. Now, if you want to reverse it, maybe that's what your motion should be, but you cannot, under the 81 Act or anything that we operate under, have those parallel committees. It's just not authorized. That gets back to some of the Charlie Curtis arguments. So that's my opinion on it. And as your cousin, Bo Wilson, would say, sometimes I've missed them, but I feel pretty stout on this because I'm reading right out of the book.
Okay, so do you want
We
to?
call for question. It's okay. I'm not.
Now, there wasn't a second to what you,
Okay.
are we of the opinion that we're back to the original as it was originally read, or does somebody second what he was saying, understanding the parliamentarian saying that that's a conflict within the 81 Act? You can't share it together. You give it to one or you give it to the other. You could do that, but you can't give it to both.
Okay, I understand that. I just didn't like the way this was worded coming out of our committee.
Right, but in your April meeting, I think that reflects where you were, that you were reading from the March meeting. Okay, so on the floor currently is the original, and we can reread it if you like, but as it was given to you. Does everybody understand what you're voting for? There was a motion and a second for that. So a yes vote would be to take the budget committee process out from under the Financial Management Committee and to form it and give it the responsibilities that go with that, with the following 5 people to be that committee. That's what everybody agrees, that's what it says? However we arrived here, does everybody understand what you're voting yes or no to? So if you vote yes, you're going to form a separate budget committee under the 81 Act structure. If you vote no, then it will stay as it currently is, where all those duties are vested with the Financial Management Committee, which you're required to have. But the Financial Management Committee is not required to be the budget committee. You can do that. Does everybody understand that? Are we ready to vote?
We're voting, like you said, on that this will just be separate, but it would still be just the budget taken from the Financial Management Committee, right?
It would be all things associated with budget, which is set out in the 81 Act, what those duties and responsibilities are. You would, in my view, you would have to adopt new policies and procedures for how the budget committee would operate. And you would need to say how these people are appointed, how long do they serve, do they have to be commissioners? I mean, you're going to need to create all that. Now, all that was structured when you adopted the Financial Management Act of 81 and gave it all to the Financial Management Committee. You adopted policies and procedures that lined all that out. Commissioner Hooker.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I just want, if All right, I'd like to amend my motion just because I think it's important to include the true meaning of what Commissioner Farrer wanted. So I want to amend my motion to adopt and add a sentence on to the current motion that states that based on the Budget Committee formulation plan presented at Rules Committee. So the motion as stated to also include the Budget Committee formulation plan that was presented at Rules. That was what was presented at Rules. That's the intent of what he wanted to bring forward, and I think that's important that we vote on that based on his intent.
Okay.
Call the question, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we need to ask the parliamentarian for clarification because again, they're going to be in conflict of the 81 Act, I think, if you simply want to be a parallel committee to the Financial Management Committee.
I can say it as many times as you want or not, and you take it or leave it. But I guess my other question would be, but it's moot. Based on that, it's moot. But my other question is, what does that mean? Because I looked at the April, and maybe there's something in March that I'm not aware. I don't know what your motion means, but as far as I'm concerned, it's moot and improper.
So you want to see if there's a second to what even the parliamentarian is saying that that's in conflict. So you're withdrawing the amendment to it? Is there a second to amend it to be in conflict with the 81 Act? Okay, so now we're back to the main motion. There was a motion, a second for it. Yeah, Commissioner Adam Thomas.
They're being already made. Would you be willing to table this for a period of time? I know you mentioned some rules and outlines that you had for this special committee. Would we be willing to table it for a time, get clarification, get those forms you talked about that weren't in the packet?
Yeah, and again, this would be what was coming from Rules. I'm always open for further research, and I would love to hear from Charlie Curtis, so I am definitely open to that.
So I'd like to make that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, you agree to, okay, and who seconded your motion originally? So you agree to that. So now we are pivoting away from this and pivoting to table it? Is that the term you're using?
Well, it would be Commissioner Thomas's.
Okay.
Postpone it, table it for a future time until we gather more research. If we can get the forms, the papers that Commissioner Hooker was talking about that he said weren't in the packet, until we can get those and just learn more about this, get the clarifications we need on this.
Okay, let me make sure with the parliamentarian. If you're tabling this, that means it doesn't come back up unless it's reintroduced, correct? Right, so it wouldn't automatically be on next month's agenda. It would be gone until somebody brings it back. Do you understand what you're?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you agreeing to that?
I would think we would need to defer it rather than table it.
Okay.
And that way,
I can defer it.
You're not
That's
going to
fine.
you're not going to do anything with this year's budget anyway, so we can defer it for however how long you need to do that. But
Okay, so if you want to defer, how long do you want to defer it for?
We can go to next month's meeting. Is that enough time, Commissioner Hooker?
Yeah, I believe so. Commissioner Farrer, it's your committee and your initial, do you think that's enough to be able to get Charlie Curtis in?
And bring it back at any time you want to bring it back.
Now, I'll go back to my original motion of tabling.
Okay, so you're back to, your motion is to table it. Understand, yes, it could be brought back, but it wouldn't automatically be triggered back at the commission level. All right, so do you accept that second?
yes,
Okay, now do we all agree that's the motion? Everybody understand that what we're voting for, it would be to table it, which means it could come back, but it won't automatically come back without being triggered by a committee. We in agreement with that? When your name's called, vote for or against.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Boutwell,
No.
Commissioner Boyette,
No.
Commissioner Brothers, Commissioner Epperson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fair, Commissioner Hooker,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
No.
Commissioner Maddox,
Yes.
Commissioner Neely,
Yes.
Commissioner Pinson, Commissioner Davis,
No.
Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Adam Thomas, Commissioner Mark Thomas,
No.
Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner Vick,
No.
Commissioner Yaki.
No.
Does anyone wish to change your vote? Eight yes votes to table, 10 no votes to table.
Okay, so that puts us back to the main motion. So the main motion, well, am I correct, parliamentarian? They amended, so we're back to the main motion. All right, so the main motion on the floor then was to remove the current budget duties from the Financial Management Committee as adopted in the 2006 under the Financial Management Act of 1981 and create a separate budget committee to assume those responsibilities with the following 5 members to serve: Diane Neely, 4th District; John Boutwell, 8th District; Troy Thompson, 3rd District; Bill Anderson, 6th District; and Drew Hooker from the 1st District.
Call the question, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, well, we got to have a motion and a second. So far, it's not going anywhere. Do we have original? Okay, I'm sorry, we're back. So the original, who was the original? Okay, so Commissioner Hooker originally moved for that as read, and Commissioner Epperson seconded that as read, even though we had these maneuvers. Okay, so we're open for discussion again. They call for the question, but go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, so, I mean, if what was stated at the Rules and Legislative Committee is not truly reflective on the agenda as accurate, then this just all seems like a moot point to me. I don't understand. If it's not even, it just seems like, why would we be voting on this in the first place if that wasn't the intended verbiage that was supposed to even be on the agenda? So we're voting on something that wasn't even supposed to be placed on for this meeting.
Well, actually, Commissioner Epperson made the motion to send it to the full commission to vote on. Commissioner Hooker.
Yeah, to be fair, she motioned to send what they had been discussing for 2 meetings to the commission, which is separate from what is stated here. So again, I think it's interesting that people will vote no to table this because it was going to go back to being able to bring Charlie Curtis in and get more information. We say no to that because why would we not want another committee, or why would we not want more scrutiny on everything that we do? We're seeing federal government right now with the more scrutiny, the more that we're finding, the more they're digging in, they're finding things. And it's not saying that it's corruption or things like that. It's just saying, hey, that sometimes there's oversights. But at the end of the day, I think it says a lot to the community that you're not willing to bring this back to discuss it. Because the thing is again, it was tabling it. It wasn't deferring it. It wasn't doing anything. It was tabling it to be able to go back to committee and have that conversation. It's a continuation, and really showing the community that you don't want to discuss things, that you want to just get it up here and do that. And I think the more information we bring in, we bring Charlie Curtis in, we find out what that is. I think the more that we find out, I think it's important to do those things. And again, just bringing it back to committee to be able to talk about it, I don't see what the negative is in that. But again, you get to choose to vote how you want to. But at the end of the day, I think it's sending a message to the community that you don't want to have these discussions. You don't want to bring in the expert that knows more about county government than anybody sitting in this room. We believe, and we agree to that. We quote Charlie Curtis meeting after meeting after meeting, but yet you don't want him to come back and talk about this. I think it shows to the community that you don't want to have those discussions.
Mr. Chairman, I agree. He probably knows more than anybody in this room, including me, but he will not rewrite the code. And I too have talked to Charlie Curtis, and the only question that I see any wiggle room is whether you got 2/3 vote to change this or whether it takes 10 votes. It doesn't take a rocket scientist here tonight to find out you do not have 10 votes. So if you want to get it on and get it over with, vote on the real issue. Because I'm telling you, and Charlie Curtis will tell you the same thing, Nobody can rewrite the code except the legislature, and it's crystal clear. Have you got any questions on 21-105? The answer is no. You don't.
Well, and again,
But
I don't think we've had enough discussion on it. And again, I'm not denying that you're right or you're wrong. I'm not questioning that. What I'm saying is we build more information. And bringing in Charlie Curtis is not going to hurt anything. But again, everybody gets to vote the way they want to. We can move forward with this and, and we can always bring it back up in a different way.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Vick.
95 counties in this state. The comptroller, who is represents the integrity of this state when it comes to budget and finance. 95 counties, and we are one that gets a clean audit. Numerous times clean audit. Numerous times national awards. Numerous times we've been recognized for audit and the way we report and our department heads and the honesty. And this is a scrutiny by a total scrub by the comptroller's office. Our problem is not the Financial Management Committee. We run a tight ship. The taxpayers know where every dollar goes. What Commissioner Farrer's motion is nothing but a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. We have listened to the debate. It was a back of an envelope plan. It's got all these different discrepancies. They don't know how many votes it takes. They don't know who's going to do what. Let's just vote on this and let's move on. We've got a great financial committee and a great finance director, and I'm ready to move on and vote on this.
And the motion and second on the floor would be if you vote yes, it would be to form budget committee separate, to remove it out from under the financial management structure. If you vote no, it would be to leave it as it is now. Does everybody understand what they're voting on? Are we ready to vote? Commissioner Yaki.
I have one comment. We've had this agenda for several weeks, I believe at least 2 weeks, and if you read your agenda, you should have known how it would be presented, whether it was right or wrong, whether it was intentionally misworded, whether it was worded like, or should have been worded like Commissioner Farrer wanted. But we've had this thing for 2 weeks. Why has somebody not called the mayor's office and got an explanation or asked for clarification? Folks, we have studied this, we have looked at this. This is ridiculous. And it comes down to, even I understand, John T., it's either one way or the other way. It's not parallel. We can't have both. So let's get this over with. Let's vote. Whoever's got 10 wins.
Okay, so again, motion on the floor in the second is as it was read, which would, in fact, if you vote yes, you would be voting to form a separate budget committee to remove it from the financial management structure. If you vote no, it would be to leave it as it is now. Does everybody understand what they're voting on? Are we ready? When your name's called, vote for or against.
Commissioner Anderson?
No.
Commissioner Boutwell?
Again.
No would be to leave it as is. Yes would be to change it.
Commissioner Boyette?
No.
Commissioner Brothers? Commissioner Epperson?
Yes.
Commissioner Farrer? Commissioner Hooker?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
No.
Commissioner Maddox?
Pass.
Commissioner Neely?
Pass.
Commissioner Pinson? Commissioner Davis?
No.
Commissioner Smith?
No.
Commissioner Adam Thomas? Commissioner Mark Thomas?
No.
Commissioner Thompson?
No.
Commissioner Vick?
No.
Commissioner Yaki?
No.
Does anyone wish to change your vote? Two ayes, 13 noes, 3 pass.
So it fails, meaning it stays as it is. Next item on the agenda is number 6 is IDB Century Mode pilot request per the IDB board. And that was sent without a recommendation from the Rules and Legislative Committee.
Move to approve.
Commissioner Pinson. So there's a motion and a second. All right, we're open for discussion about this IDB pilot.
Since it's with no recommendation, I assume that means to approve what the city has already approved, which is, I think you've got those numbers. I was looking for them, but I don't actually have them in front of me. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
So that would be recommending as it was presented. Is the motion a second? Understand that or agree to that? Okay, we're open for other discussion related to it. All right, when your name's called, vote for or against.
Commissioner Yaki,
Yes.
Commissioner Vick,
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner Mark Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Adam Thomas, Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Pinson, Commissioner Neely,
Yes.
Commissioner Maddox,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hooker,
Yes.
Commissioner Fair, Commissioner Epperson,
Yes.
Commissioner Brothers, Commissioner Boyette,
Yes.
Commissioner Boutwell,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
Does anyone wish to change your vote? 18 ayes, 0 noes.
All right, so next item, nothing to report under public safety, but we're on to courthouse and property. There was 2 surplus property requests that were owner. The county had gotten these parcels by default. There have been inquiries from people wishing to purchase them. Rhonda's office, the assessor's office, reviewed those and say they are eligible to be surplus if the county wishes to, and then the county could go through the bid process for people. It's parcel 038JB023.00 on Bridge Street in Bell Buckle is one of them. The second one is parcel 24.03 in Wheel, and that's east of Whitaker Road. And it was sit with a unanimous recommendation by the Courthouse and Property Committee to surplus them.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion is second. We're open for discussion. Commissioner Thomas, Mark Thomas.
Did we ever figure out what these properties, how we acquired them, or what they were, the intentions of them were?
I believe Rhonda's here, but I believe we wound up from tax defaults in both cases. One of them was landlocked. That was maybe a cutout from an earlier time, and then the one up on Bridge Street, I think it was in the 80s. Or something whenever they defaulted and the county had it by default. It's interesting that we missed those because a few years ago before I was the mayor, the county went through a gyration of trying to dispose of loose properties, but these 2 somehow fell through the cracks, but public reached out interested in buying them. So that was the genesis of it. Thank you. Okay, so we got motion second. Any other discussion? I think when your name's called, vote for or against.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Boutwell,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyette,
Yes.
Commissioner Brothers, Commissioner Epperson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fair, Commissioner Hooker,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Maddox,
Yes.
Commissioner Neely,
Yes.
Commissioner Pinson, Commissioner Davis,
Yep.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Adam Thomas, Commissioner Mark Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner Vick,
Yes.
Commissioner Yaki.
Yes.
Does anyone wish to change your vote? 18 ayes, 0 noes.
Okay, we're on to Financial Management Committee, quarterly financials, and they should have been in your packet.
Move to approve.
Motion is second. We're open for discussion. Questions regarding those? Okay with all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next is Board of Education Budget Amendment number 3.
Move to approve.
Okay, we're open for discussion. I know the school superintendent's here too. Is there any comments or questions? Okay, are y'all okay with all in favor, or do you want a roll call? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. County Budget Amendment number 6.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion second. We're open for discussion. Finance Director's here. Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next item is Financial Management Policy Update.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion second. We're open for discussion. Should have been in your packet showing you there's a couple of technical updates that we needed to do so that we can manage surplus. Everybody understand? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and then next is Register of Deeds write-offs.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, open for discussion. This is a formality, satisfy all of it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and then county surplus property.
Approve.
Motion second for discussion or that. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Under other business, we have discussion of wastewater, and this was added to the agenda at the request of Commissioner Biff Farah and Commissioner Drew Hooker. Commissioner Hooker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Over the last several months, we've had multiple discussions and different avenues and different conversations about wastewater. I was actually approached by several realtors, developers in the community to continue to talk about this, to be able to put together a group of experts to be able to focus on this particular thing. We've hashed it back and forth in this group, and again, very few people on in this commission is experts in wastewater, including myself. And so, with that being said, I would like to make a motion to create a wastewater task force that will be made up of 15 people, including realtors, developers, county commissioners, public members, engineers, planning, and also wastewater experts, totaling no more than 15 people, to bring back a recommendation to this group by the August meeting. This is very similar to the homeless task force, where we were able to get experts together to be able to put that together. I think it's very important, especially since people in our community are asking for this. I think it would be something that would be extremely important. So I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Okay, we got a motion second. We're open for discussion.
Well, did we send this to the planning commission for consideration?
I do believe all of the wastewater matters were sent to planning commission, but someone correct me, and I believe the planning, or my planner is here if you have any particular question for him. Commissioner, did I cut somebody off? Who? Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, if Mr. White could come forward.
Okay, if you can come up. If y'all don't object, we'll have him. You're asking, what's the specific question?
Specific question is, I thought this was kicked back to the Planning Commission and their authority. I certainly wouldn't disagree with having a task force like this at all, but I think it ought to be with the Planning Commission's decision to do that. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, I can't speak for the chairperson of the planning commission, but I don't think the planning commission would necessarily have a problem with appointing a committee if that's what they want. If that's what this board wants to make that request, so I think it would definitely be considered fondly. I mean, this is a group that has a wealth of knowledge, and I think, I don't think it's a bad idea at all. In fact, if you guys send it back to us, which you did, but if if we're to study it, there's nothing wrong with having some extra voices, in that process. So, I mean, I can't imagine this is something that's going to take place in just a month or two. I mean, this is something I felt like we were probably going to study probably for a year or so anyway. So, yeah, I'm happy to.
Does Planning Commission have the authority to create a task force if they chose to bring people into this, or would it need to originate from the commission?
Yeah, I think the Planning Commission has the ability to appoint a committee. Not necessarily, I don't know about the language of task force, but I mean, I think that Commissioner Hooker's idea, the task force idea, I think it probably can be done through a committee that the chairman can appoint. So.
Okay. Let me and then I'll come to you. Yes, sir.
Like I said, I don't think this is a bad idea. Commissioner Hooker, would you amend your motion to that we recommend pass a resolution that the Planning Commission do this?
But not name it a task force, just a adjunct committee.
Yes.
The reason I want to keep it as a task force, and I want it being originated in this group in case there's any type of resolutions that need to come out of that. The other piece is I think it speaks that the commission is supportive of this. I do not want to bypass planning in any way. I want to include planning in this. I want to be able to bring in, but I was asked specifically by some of our larger realtors in the town, as well as some of our developers, to be able to do that from this group. And so I would like to keep it at the commission, but I will make sure that as we go through this process, that planning walks with us hand in hand. This is not to supersede them. I have been extremely supportive of Mr. White and his group along with planning, but I think it's something that from this group we can be able to create to walk hand in hand with them, not to replace, but to be able to offer some things. And if something comes out of that from a resolution standpoint, then we can bring it through a little quicker.
Commissioner Vick.
Mr. Chairman, I am amazed at this, much like Saul on the road to Damascus when the scales were lifted from his eyes. We've voted on this and discussed it 4 different times, and the commission has kicked it back to the planning commission all 4 times. The statute clearly says, TCA 137105, any amendments or changes shall not be made or become effective unless the same be first submitted for approval or suggestion to the Regional Planning Commission. 1313, Planning Commission shall have the power to promulgate provisions in subdivision regulations. The provisions of well-designed, properly constructed infrastructure is vital to the health and safety welfare. All these infrastructure issues, it's the Planning Commission's job to recommend to the commission. It's not the commission's job to make recommendations to the Planning Commission. So if Director White wants to have a subcommittee or a group of people put together, I think that's a great idea, and I think we should through the Planning Commission, but not through the County Commission because we can't do it. We're not authorized to do this.
Commissioner Epperson.
I would just like to say, whatever we do, that I'd like to see it done quickly, or more than a year, faster than a year. So if that helps get it done more quickly, I'd like to see it done faster. We've already had the wastewater board meeting that we heard from a lot of people from there, that was experts. I have spoke with Consolidated. They told me they'd spoke Commissioner Vick. That I'm planning to come to the zoning meeting, where maybe you guys will discuss it there. But whatever we do, I just hope it's faster than a year. So whatever you think helps to move that along.
If I may, so initially, this thing was proposed as a private act, which clearly lies in y'all's wheelhouse. This is not a planning commission issue if it's a private act. If it's a zoning or if it's something that we do in the subdivision regulations, that is something that the planning commission has autonomous authority on as far as promulgating its own rules. If it's a resolution for a zoning amendment, it comes from the planning commission, derives from the planning commission to this body, and then this body votes on it. Those are the 3 things we've discussed. The planning commission last month asked me to start studying the issue of promulgating its own rules, so we plan to do that. And the reason why you guys had it initially is just because we knew it would take a while, and the private act has to be done first. And then once you pass a private act, then it's still not effective. It's still you would have an authority that is not in effect. To make it effective, you have to go back. You have to vote on it again and have a 2/3 vote on it a second time. So that would have given you guys an opportunity. Now, that doesn't mean it wasn't studied. It was properly studied, and I have all the studies. So that would have started the ball rolling. But if we wanted to start all over again with like some type of task force, the main thing that I want to do, and I think it's important that you guys all understand, these things don't happen overnight. A lot of work goes into that kind of stuff. And so the biggest concern I felt like was coming from this body was that the fact that you didn't feel like you were engaged enough. So I really feel like if we're going to go down this road again towards this private act and sort of go from that point of view, I do think we need to have a lot more public engagement. And I think that because I want to avoid the same situation we ran into last time, because this stuff takes a lot of work, and I've got a lot on my plate already. And so it is a little frustrating, but I understand it. And if we need to engage more with the public, with the realtors, with the builders, and with you, then I'm happy to do that. I think it needs to be done. I think that's a healthy way of doing it. So yeah, I'm happy to do it either way you want to do it. If you want to study it just as an issue of a private act, I think that that's well within your authority to do that. If you want to look at it from subdivision regulations, which had been mentioned to me, well, we already started pursuing that. So we can do it that way. The only thing that I can't do in the planning commission level with the sub-regs was the idea that I wanted to create the fund, to collect a fund for the wastewater authority that would be treated a little bit like a super fund. In case there was ever, in 40, 50 years down the road, there was a failure that a utility was having a difficult time repairing, that we would have this emergency fund. And that's something that I couldn't do. And that's the whole reason why we proposed it as a wastewater authority. Not as some big entity with a lot of power, but like a beer board with a set of rules. And so, so that's kind of the idea behind it. I think I sent you guys all kind of the genesis of the idea and how it all evolved. And so you kind of have, I think, a better understanding of where we were going with that and the reason why we pursued it in the way that we did. So I think you got three choices. You can leave it with the planning commission. We're happy to, I know that the chairperson would be amenable to that. If you wanted for us to appoint a committee and then get the proper people engaged. If it's a zoning resolution, clearly it has to come from the planning commission first, as Commissioner Vick talked about. And then if you want to pursue it as a wastewater authority, as a private act, then I think that you guys could appoint your own task force and you could study it that way, and we'd be happy to participate in it.
Did that answer your question? Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I didn't have a question, but
I
got
thought you originally said, I thought this went to the planning.
But I do have a statement. We
Okay.
gave it to the planning commission. And now we want to give it to somebody else in parallel. If you give me a task as an employee or as a group, and then a month later you assign that to someone else as well, that really gives me a lot of confusion as the person you assigned it to begin with. Let's let the planning commission do their thing. If they need input from the city or the county or the public or the realtors or whoever they need input from, they can get it if they feel that that's necessary. But let them come back to us and and tell us what they've come up with. And I think that's the fastest way to get this thing done, by the fact that they're not looking over their shoulders. Well, here's another group. What are they doing? I think they will do it the quickest. And I just think we need to stay with what we said we were going to do.
Okay, thank you. Other comments, questions? Commissioner Fair. Commissioner Hooker.
Yeah, and to be fair, to talk back to the original comment I made, I wanted to include planning in this. And so again, this is not trying to replace, this is trying to involve some public members along with realtors and developers. And to be honest with you, the idea did not come from me. The idea came from two realtors here in town that asked me to be able to put something like this together. And both of them were at the meeting that we had last month, and they saw that we were coming from a point, from this commission, we were coming from a point of really ignorance when it came to wastewater. I think the Planning Commission will absolutely do a great job. But from as a commissioner standpoint, it took a study session for me to learn. The more we've talked about this, the more we've learned. It may change different opinions about different things, but at the end of the day, this was not to replace. This is to work with, hand in hand, to be able to get ideas from realtors, get ideas from developers, get idea from the public. The more times that we talk with the public, the more information that we get. Again, when it comes to wastewater, this is probably one of the most important topics we've had in the last 3 years of most of us being on the commission. And so with that, I want to, as a commissioner, be able to make an informed decision rather than just one that when I get a piece of paper, I have to vote yes or no on. I want to make an informed decision. I think the more we talk about it, the more we bring the experts in. And again, that's working with planning. They're the experts. And so bringing them along with some of these realtors and developers working together, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think the more information that we can get, and that is not trying to go against state law, making, telling the planning commission what to do. But the thing is we do it all the time. We make recommendations and they take it back and they talk about it. Well, the thing is we're not going to be the best ones to make recommendations on this. We're not the experts in wastewater. The people that we would like to put on this task force are the experts. So why would we not want to bring those in, especially very important people across our community that have asked for this? That's the reason that I brought it here, not because I want something else to do. Lord, that's the last thing I need to do is add something else to my plate. But at the end of the day, we need to put people together to be able to bring the information to us and then allow us to make educated decisions.
Okay, so who would the committee report to? You gonna have them report back to the commission, or are you gonna have them report to one of your committees, or what are you gonna do with them?
No, I think the idea, just as we did with the homeless task force, I think it needs to report to Rules Committee. I think that's the most appropriate, where if anything comes out of that, it goes through the correct process. And I believe that Rules Committee, as well as Property and Courthouse, have kind of taken kind of a lead on some of these different pieces. I think it needs to come out of those, be at least a report to both of those committees to be able to make sure that they are informed as to what's going through. Again, and then that would be also, if planning asks for it, being able to bring it to them, to be able to tell them where we're at on that. Of course, they would be part of that. But again, if they requested that, then we would have that ability to do that.
So is it your position that those two committees can't form this committee as a sub of themselves anyway?
No, they have that authority. Again, this was a situation where I had realtors bring this to my attention, and I felt like it was a good idea, and I felt like it needed to come to the commission to discuss.
Okay, so the motion and the second on the floor is to form this committee, but have them report to which committee?
The Rules Committee, report to Rules, but also give a report to the Courthouse and Property.
And who's going to direct them what you want from them? What are you asking them for?
Again, I was going to work to put this group together to ask them to study the subject of wastewater and then be able to make any recommendations that they come across, to be able to go to the rules, to be able to bring anything forward that they may need to. Again, I think that I don't need to ask anything specifically. What I'm asking them to do is be able to look at wastewater and make recommendations to the powers that be, because at the end of the day, they are the experts, and I believe they need to be the ones that are giving the reports and deciding what needs to come back and what doesn't.
Okay, does everybody understand what Commissioner Tony Smith?
Yeah, I'd like to ask the county attorney, since the full commission has already voted on this, a unanimous vote, how many votes will it take to overturn this?
I think that takes only 10. So if you want to change that, you can certainly change it with the majority.
Now, what are you advocating to change? I didn't understand the question. What were you looking to change? What would 10 votes change?
I just question how many votes it would take to overturn what the commission voted on last month.
Okay, regarding sending it to the Planning Commission? Okay, good, okay. Okay, so the motion and second on the floor is for this commission to form a task force that's going to report to the to the Rules Committee, and somewhere in the Rules Committee, you guys will direct them what you want from them, and they'll pass that information back and forth to you, and then you'll bring that back to the commission. that's, am I,
Is reporting to the Rules Committee in response to wastewater, and their recommendations will come as what they decide in that group. Again, it will be made up of no more than 15 people, including the group that I listed earlier.
understood, but then you'll send that back to the commission is what I was referring to. You're going to have it then report back to here.
No, it would report to Rules.
Yeah, but I mean, once rules have that information, what are they going to do with it? Back to the commission, right? Okay, yeah. So Commissioner Epperson.
Okay, I'm the one that made the motion in the committee to send it to planning and zoning. But I don't think it ever came to the commission because that was last month that I said, I want to send it back to planning and zoning. So, and I'm still with that. But I'm just saying, we never voted on that here. I just made that motion in the committee. Because we hadn't met since the last committee meeting.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to clear me up. I'm getting a little fuzzy. I'm
Well,
just thinking about the
Commissioner-
motion is second on the floor. Is Commissioner Hooker asking or recommending or suggesting, whatever the term is, to form a task force regarding wastewater? And,
Right,
And you
I was-
seconded that, right?
I didn't second it. I think Commissioner Farrar did. I
Okay,
was just
Commissioner,
saying with
okay.
Commissioner Smith
Oh, okay, I got you,
asking about overturning it, it never came to the commission. I just said I wanted to send it back to planning and zoning.
Okay, I got you. Sorry, that was my disconnect. Okay. So again, Commissioner Johnson.
I'll just say to Mr. White, if this motion fails here, I'd encourage you to, your planning commission, to get input from these folks. Same ones we're talking about here, if this motion fails here.
Okay, so the motion, Commissioner
All right,
Epperson, I'm
one
sorry,
more
no problem.
question, Chris, or Linda can tell me. So if, like I said, I'm going to the zoning meeting, county planning and zoning, encourage everybody else to do the same. You can ask questions there as well, right? If y'all are discussing that. So, okay, just want to make sure.
Of course, then it's open meeting. Okay. So motion is second on the floor is to form a task force to report to Rules Committee. Rules will push that information back to this body as they find it or absorb it. Okay? When your name's called, vote for or against. Yes would be to form it, no would be to not form it, to leave it with the planning.
Commissioner Yaki,
No.
Commissioner Vick,
No.
Commissioner Thompson,
No.
Commissioner Mark Thomas,
No.
Commissioner Adam Thomas, Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Davis,
No.
Commissioner Pinson, Commissioner Neely,
No.
Commissioner Maddox,
No.
Commissioner Johnson,
No.
Commissioner Hooker,
Yes.
Commissioner Farrer, Commissioner Epperson,
No.
Commissioner Brothers, Commissioner Boyette,
No.
Commissioner Boutwell,
No.
Commissioner Anderson.
No.
Does anyone wish to change your vote? 2 ayes, 16 noes.
Okay, two things left. Announcements, office will be closed for Memorial Day on May the 26th. And the commission, we need to have a special call meeting with our attorneys. They're present. I think we need to recess in case you want to come back in to take any action. If you don't, then we'll, attorney-client, what did I say? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Attorney-client meeting, we'll need to recess to do that. So if you want to come back to take action, you can. Commissioner Thomas, Mark Thomas.
I got an announcement I wanted to make right quick. I just want to thank Commissioner Vick for the opportunity to serve Cartwright School in the manner that we did for those children. That was great. The blessing was mine, and I thank you for inviting me. What'd I say? It was Aiken, I'm sorry. And I'd like to thank the school staff and the superintendent for being a part of that. That was a blessing for all of us.
Commissioner Scott Johnson.
There's going to be the Bedford County Community Blood Drive is going to be at Bedford County EMA parking lot on Railroad Avenue on Wednesday, May 28th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you go to bloodassurance.org/Bedford County EMA, you'll be able to sign up and donate much needed blood. And if you didn't have a chance to get up here this weekend, the Shovel Partnership Foundation put on a fantastic run that raised tens of thousands of dollars for our school system. So congratulations on a successful event there.
Great. Commissioner Linda Yaki.
Ross Ice Cream Supper is June 14th. We need your money.
They make good ice cream. All right. Other announcements? Okay, so because of attorney-client, everyone will have to leave except them, but we are recessing, so we will come back in after that, okay? So we're in recess. The meeting session, and if you want to take any action or do anything, we're going to need to suspend the rules because it's not on the agenda. Or is there a second to that? All in favor? It's two-thirds. Is anybody saying no to that so we can get them on the record? Okay, so it was unanimous to suspend the rules. All right, so we're open for business.
I make a motion to move forward with an appeal.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Boutwell made the second. All right, so motion second on the floor to authorize legal to appeal the decision. Does everybody understand what we're voting for? When your name's called, vote for or against.
Commissioner Yaki? Commissioner Vick?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson? Commissioner Mark Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Adam Thomas? Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Pinson? Commissioner Neely?
No.
Commissioner Maddox?
No.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hooker?
Pass.
Commissioner Farrer? Commissioner Epperson?
Yes.
Commissioner Brothers? Commissioner Boyette?
Yes.
Commissioner Boutwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson? Does anyone wish to change your vote? 13 ayes, 2 noes, 2 pass.
All right, so that means that we will appeal. The county's officially agreed to appeal the decision. So we'll authorize them for that. Is there any other business to come before this body tonight? Second.